All right, guys. So I stumbled across this pretty powerful clip from this school board meeting. The same school board meeting that has the mom that dressed up as a cat, right? To make a point about how silly all of this gender identity stuff is and how you can just identify as anything.
Hello, my name is Lindsey Graham, and I am a cat. Meow, meow. I'm not a woman dressed as a cat. I am a cat. By show of hands, I'm curious, how many of you believe and confess that I'm a cat? Great. By show of hands, I'm curious, how many of you believe that your child or a child from this school would believe that I'm actually a cat? No one. You are right. Truth prevails over imagination. Reality exists. Discernment is innate and something we are biologically wired to have. One look at me and you know this to be true. I am a woman posing as a cat.
Yeah, these school board meetings have gotten interesting, okay? But she makes an obvious point, a point that is true, and I think it's a point that's worth making because it does show you the insanity of the gender ideology that is being accepted as gospel in these schools. However, speaking of gospel, I think what a lot of us forget, at least from a religious perspective, and it's not even really just specifically tied to Christianity, is that ultimately at the end of the day, you know, for people who are complicit in some of this nonsense that's going on in our society, specifically when it comes to kids, there is a day of judgment where people will have to answer for the fact that they were complicit in this. And I think that this woman right here makes that very important point that people tend to forget about when we're talking about, you know, this issue and the people that are responsible or complicit in pushing this stuff on children. And that's why I think that this is worth sharing. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it.
Board. My name is Michelle Altair, and I'm here in support of the resolution that was read. And I have a different, unique perspective on things because I traveled with a superintendent during the primaries all over the state who was addressing the transgender issues, the sexualization of children. And we happened to talk with, or after such a talk, an 11-year-old girl came out. And she was just asking about, are you against this? I mean, isn't it, you know, shouldn't we be more accepting with these? Shouldn't we be more accepting? And as the questions were being asked, she shared with us that she played on the girls' volleyball team, 11 years old, played on the girls' volleyball team. And she knew it was a man. It wasn't just because you're in a dress or you're wearing certain clothes does not make you a female. She knew that one of their student coaches was a man, and he would come into their locker room and he would just stand there at the door staring at them. And she was asked, just at you? No, he just stares at us, all of us girls, as we're changing. And the issue, yes, that's a horrible thing. But the bigger thing was she felt bad because she's being indoctrinating that this is natural, this is normal. And so she felt bad. Something's wrong with her because she was uncomfortable as he's watching her. Now, I know, I have never had an 11-year-old girl, but I would imagine they don't even want their fathers in the rooms with them when they're changing, let alone some strange individual who says I identify as a woman in the locker room.
Facts. And that's such an important point, right? And it's funny because these same people on the left who support this stuff, they claim that they're for women's rights. They claim they care about women's feelings and yada, yada, yada. But when it comes to this issue right here, all of that goes out the window. Okay, you're supposed to just be okay with a man being in your presence while you're changing. And if you're not okay with it, then you're a bigot. Something's wrong with you. You're not accepting of that person's identity. But these same people who are preaching about acceptance are not accepting the fact that women just naturally are uncomfortable with men, right? Being around people of the opposite sex. You can't change your sex. Being in their presence while they're changing. It's like no matter what you do to your body, no matter if you wear a dress, no matter what you do, again, there's still that element of, well, this is a biological male and he is watching me while I dress. Again, something that young girls are probably not even comfortable with it when it comes to close family members. And I think, for the most part, I mean, I'm not a father of a daughter, but if I feel like I was the father of a daughter, there's no scenario outside of maybe her being, super young or whatever, that I feel like it would make sense for me to be in a locker room or to watch her change if she can do it herself, right? If she doesn't need any help, why even be in the room? You know, unless it's something that, you know, you're sharing a hotel room or something like that. But even then, it's like, oh, go in the bathroom, you know, go change, you know, to yourself, you know, have your own personal space. For whatever reason, that is not even extended to these young girls in school, even though we know how sensitive this is for young girls. But it's almost as if they're not supposed to, you know, they're not supposed to care. Their feelings don't matter. What actually matters is more the feelings of a grown man than the feelings of a young girl. And that to me is just, it's mind-blowing that we've gotten to this point in our society where we've just said that their feelings don't matter, right? There was a story I did, I think it happened out of like Vermont or Massachusetts or something like that, up in the Northeast, where the girls got kicked out of the girls' locker room, the volleyball team, because they did not feel comfortable with a male student being allowed to change in the locker room. They complain about it, and people are looking at them like they're the bad people. You're the bad guy, right? When it's like, no, that male student should be the one that has to go and change in, you know, their own individual, you know, bathroom or whatever, because they're the one that's being the inconvenience, not the girls. It's just amazing how women's rights has progressed to the point of it's become men's rights, right? And it's like men who want to be women, because they have this more marginalized status, this more victimized status, their rights supersede that of women who fought hard to get and to earn the things that they have. And to me, it just blows my mind how all of that is being reversed in the name of woke ideology and progress, when it is really regressive. And that's not just when it comes to this issue of gender identity. That's also present when it comes to the issue of race, where anti-racism has become racism. No, you got to be racist in order to fight against racism. Like, they don't believe in a colorblind society. Progressivism has become regressive. That's what it is, which means we progress too much, which means we don't need to progress anymore as society socially, in my opinion. I'm just saying.
So I would think, you know, that we're all going to have to answer to a much higher power for our role in the destruction, and it is the destruction of children. We all had our issues growing up. We all maybe had some idiosyncrasies, some things, problems that we had growing up, but I don't think we were ever told that the reason why you have these problems is because you're really a girl or you're really a boy. Basically telling them that God, the God of the universe, he made a mistake when creating you. And man, fallible man, we know what's right, and we can change you into what you really should be. So I think, you know, we all need to take a deep look within ourselves and know that you will stand before a higher power, and you will be asked about your role in what is the destruction of children in this generation. Thank you.
Yeah. Again, that's a point that I think a lot of us kind of miss and forget about, because, you know, you get wrapped up in the anger of it. But again, these people will be held accountable, right? I mean, they will be held accountable, whether that be through having them be, you know, voted out, you know, or if they're not voted out, you know. Again, I believe in a higher power. I think that there is judgment for each and every last one of us in the actions and the deeds that we did on this planet. And I would like to believe that people like this would not be able to just get away with, you know, indoctrinating children into this ideology that is clearly not aligned with the intentions of God and God's creation. And I think that, you know, at its core, it is something that is, you know, evil, right? And I really do think that, you know, people at some point, right, will have to be held accountable for this, because it's just not right. And I think, you know, some people feel powerless about it and helpless, but I guess you are comforted in the fact that, you know what, even if there is no earthly kind of, you know, accountability, right, you know, at some point they will have to answer for the fact that you were complicit in something that clearly is not right. Okay, you're clearly taking advantage of children for, you know, personal gain or whatever. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.